All right, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. And to our Patreon patrons and our YouTube subscribers, thank you so much. You're getting it real time. To our Amazon Prime customers who are smart enough and diligent enough and industrious enough to link their Amazon Prime accounts to their Twitch Prime accounts, really easy, thereby sticking it to Amazon, getting something free that you've already paid for, that they're willing to pay for. We're also getting paid for that. So if you please can remember to re-link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, we get paid for that.
This episode of Pachter Factor is brought to you by DeShazer Ryan Realty. Right now, Doug DeShazer has beautiful lots available adjacent to Kookanusa Lake in northwest Montana. Pull up your RV and access the hookups, or build your own construction. Either way, you have access to world-class fishing, hunting, boating, swimming, biking, hiking, and the internet. No matter where you're looking to buy, make Doug DeShazer your real estate consultant at 406-291-1643. That's Doug DeShazer at 406-291-1643.
Okay, today's question from Patreon from Not Your Mom. There is a controversial game called Stellar Blade that has a lot of scantily clad women. The developers have openly stated that it is intentionally sexualized. I find it weird that people are making a big deal out of it. If it offends you, then don't play it. I'm afraid Sony will give in to the complaints and change the characters in the game. Should artists change their work based on feedback, or should they create what they set out to do? How do you feel about video games that hyper-sexualize women? Wow. I mean, look, the politically correct answer is I hate them. The equally politically correct answer is I believe in free speech and I believe in creative, freedom, and I believe that people should make what they want. And so I actually think the market will determine if the game is bad and is demeaning, then people will play it, and if they don't believe that, people will. I guess if we had left games out of this and you had said to me, how do you feel about porn? Porn by its very definition sexualizes women. I mean, obviously. And are the women who perform victims? I mean, on one hand, yeah, they are. They're being paid, but are they being exploited by people who produce that content? Yeah, they are. How do I feel about it? I think that people, if that's what they want to do with their bodies, they have a right to do that. So, do I want my kids doing it? My wife doing it? No. But I respect people's rights to make choices of what they want to do. And I think if people want to consume hyper-sexualized games and someone is willing to satisfy that need, then that's great. Fortunately, in the game setting, there are no actual women who are being victimized. But yes, I think it's really bad to send a message to people that it's okay, to wolf whistle at women. It's bad, but what are you going to do? And again, I'm a free speech believer. I'm a free speech advocate, and I support all creative. I think if that's what people want, then pay for it. Then buy it and enjoy yourself. The ESRB exists to draw that line and make sure that the people who consume that content are mature and it's rated appropriately. I assume these games are M-rated, but I don't know, but I assume so. I think this conundrum that Sony faces between encouraging encouraging developers to be creative and giving its PlayStation customers content that some of them want, and then also being a good citizen and making sure that we don't exploit women. It's a tough one. Like I said, I think the AO or M rating protects people who would be offended by the content because they know what they're getting into, and especially if the box says AO for hypersexual content, then let people have it and don't worry about it. If the game is actually pornographic, and I haven't played it, but if it's actually pornographic, then maybe Sony should draw a line. But I'll tell you, you can find X-rated content on Twitter. And I didn't know this. I honestly didn't know this until a Wall Street Journal reporter called me after Musk bought it and said, what do you think about Twitter and X-rated content? And I go, there's X-rated content on Twitter? And I thought he meant like Nazi or something. And he meant like graphic sexual content. And he goes, just type in penis. And I did. And oh my God, it was like, instantly, like tons and tons of it. So free speech leads to people who abuse their speech and say, are demeaning, but that's kind of the contract that we have as citizens, is that we respect people's right to do it, and if they do something we don't like, then we don't give them our money. So I'm really liberal. I'm also dictionary definition woke, and I really don't like to see people oppressed, and I think it's horrific if women are oppressed. So this one's a tough one. It's a tough question for me. So my opinion, how do I feel about it? I wish there were no games that hyper-sexualize women. How do I feel about it? I wish Sony didn't publish this on its platform. But Sony knows its customers better than I do, and I saw some stat, it was really funny, about what percentage of men view porn, and it's not 10, it's like 50 or 80, I don't remember. It's a giant number. Again, I don't look down on any of that. I think if that's what you want to do with your time, great. As long as you're not watching something where the actual subject is being victimized, then no, who cares? That's why I said that the actual character in the video game wasn't truly being victimized. Yes, it connotes that societally we're being rude to women and hurting them, and I believe that. But it's a tough one. I actually think prostitution should be legal everywhere. If that's what women want to do, then regulate it, make sure it's safe for them, they don't get beat up and they don't get sexually transmitted diseases. And if that's what they want to do with their bodies, then God bless them, then go for it. And this is one of those questions that I think it's really up to voters and purchasers to decide. So not a fan of this content, but I think we should tolerate it. I mean, we don't know what the demand for the game is. If it sells 100,000 units, it's a bad decision by Sony. If it sells 10 million, it was a brilliant decision by Sony. I don't know. Did you know that the movie Midnight Cowboy was X-rated when it came out? So you can release an X-rated movie, and it did phenomenally well with an X. People went and saw it. I don't know. I mean, do they do too much? Is there a line to cross? Like, I actually think the AO line is a line where PlayStation should say if it's AO rated, it's not on our platform. I mean, they should just say that. Like, make a third party, the ESRB, responsible for determining whether or not it's fit to be on the platform. That's the easiest solution. If it's not AO rated, it can be on our platform. If it's AO rated, it can't be. That's what I would do, but I don't run Sony. Not my call. So, again, I think that's a minimum standard, and it's sort of like the local AMC theater doesn't show X-rated films. That's the line. They show R-rated films, and there's plenty of sex in R-rated films, but they do not show AO. So I think but Midnight Cowboy was the exception. They actually did show that, because at the time, that was like 1967 or something, 69, that the AO rating was or X rating was because of drug use and homosexuality. And it was just like, oh my God, gay people, oh my God, heroin use, but great movie. I loved it. Now I think you can watch it on Netflix, like I said, everything's on Netflix. You can watch it on one of the networks. That's it for me, fellow babies. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor. If you're a Patreon patron or a YouTube subscriber, thank you. If you are not a dope and you're not lazy and you've linked your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, you have stuck it to Amazon. Good for you. Thank you. It was easy to do. If you haven't done it in a couple months, you have to relink it. So please remember to relink it. And I promise I will tell everybody how smart and industrious you are rather than how stupid and lazy you are. So be smart and industrious. Link Amazon Prime to Twitch Prime. Stick it to Amazon. See you next time.